Hello everybody, it is I, Crystal Flame 360, or if you prefer, just Crystal, and welcome to the small corner of the internet where I just do whatever I feel like doing. In today's video, I'm just gonna go into my general thoughts on the Sims series as a whole, because I have stated on random occasions what I think about the other games in the series and stuff like that. And I'm just in the mood for a general kind of off-script ramble kind of video, because I am in the middle of writing a script at the moment and I just want this video to be a little bit of a simple one, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to be getting out a Strangely Pleasant View out on Sunday or not, but again, we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. So I'll begin, I guess. So with The Sims 1, I think I've stated once or twice that my memories of it are quite faint for the most part, since the last time I played it was when I was maybe like 4 or 5, and then after we got the second game I kind of alternated on and off, but we mainly played the second one. So one kind of fell onto the back burner just a smidge, but we still played it on and off. And then after we moved to England, we played The Sims 1 again very briefly, which around that time I think I was 8, because we didn't have The Sims 2 anymore because of a move. And then, the third game was announced, there was trailers and stuff going on about the third game, and then when that came out we got that, and then we got the EPs for those as it was coming out. And I remember how obsessed I got with the late night EP when that came out. But yeah, that's just like a brief overview. And then we didn't get like the entire Sims 2 EP set thing. Basically, we just got the Sims 2 EPs. I don't know if my sister got them from Amazon or eBay or what, but she got like the base game and all of its EPs, like physical copies of them, although some didn't come with codes, so we had to kind of get some codes from online and stuff, because I don't know why, but and this was like in around 2016, 2017 or something like that. So, and then since I got back into The Sims 2 again, I've not really looked back on The Sims 3 since, or But now I'm just going to go into my thoughts about each of the individual games, I guess. So with the first game, again, like I've stated multiple times, my memories of it are very faint. However, I remember enough to know that I'd always make families based on my actual family, if that makes sense. So I'd always make me and my sisters, usually, because you could have children on houses on their own in the first game, which made paying bills a bit complicated, because I don't think children could get access to the mailbox, which was a bit weird. But then again, it makes sense, but I don't think Maxis made like a fail-safe, just in case, players did make children live on their own, because they can't pay the bills, so as a result the repo man comes very regularly, and but we'd always do that usually, and I think sometimes I'd play in the roomies occasionally, I think, but I'd mostly just make either my own Sims or make families based on my own family, and the houses I'd make for them would just not be normal houses. They just be the objects haphazardly plonked down on an empty lot. Because I notice I sometimes ramble, so I look back at the recording and I'm like, oh, I was like, it sounds like saying lot instead of lot. So I'm gonna have to try and slow down and enunciate my speech a little better, but this ain't related to what I'm talking about. And yeah, I think we had all the EPs from the get-go, and I think I mentioned in another video that the EP I played with the most was Making Magic. I'd always go to Magic Town and I'd always mess about in there, but it was quite frustrating too because the needs depleted very quickly. So then because my Sims needs would get that bad, I couldn't play anymore. I'd just create a new family. Either that or they'd end up dying of hunger or something, because again, I was crap at the game. I think I played with the vacation or, holiday features a few times, and again, I really liked, I think it was the Yeti. I almost called him the Oglop. Like, no, it's, what the hell am I on about? So I'd mostly go to the snow destination and I'd go to the summer one sometimes. But again, most of my memories of The Sims 1 are just ghosts, the Grim Reaper, the police officer finding me for whatever reason, and children going to military school because I never kept up with their grades. There was also a lot of tears because, again, I think I mentioned this in another video, but it was honestly like Maxis's objective with The Sims 1 was to give children nightmares. Like, even though I don't think children were the target audience per se, but, what do we do? I'd also bulldoze already built houses to make room for more empty lots to just plonk more objects on. And eventually I did dabble into trying to build houses, but they never had wallpaper, and it was literally just a wall, a large square wall around a bunch of randomly haphazardly placed objects. So my knowledge was faint, but those memories were just of me being crap. And also because they were that faint, it's hard for me to articulate into a bunch of other thoughts. I'm just there like, yeah, I did this, I did that, I think I did that. I think I figured out how to throw a house party once or twice, but again, they never went well. So yeah, I think I'll just move on to my thoughts about the second game now, which are obviously much more clearer than the first game. The second game I played a lot more regularly, and back in my under the age of 10 days, I just make random families based on school friends or my own family yet again, or I just make a bunch of random families with like a bunch of random children and call it a school. I think I mentioned it once or twice. I actually remember a memory when I played it once is that I made a family based on a girl I didn't like in school or something like that. What 6-year-olds did apparently. And I unintentionally got the child taken away by the social worker because I think everyone's social got very low. And like not the Grim Reaper. The message that pops up, it's kind of like no one's paying attention to blanky blank, and people better start paying attention to them, or the social worker's coming, which I figured out the hard way. If you watched my, When Child Me Played The Sims 2 video, you'd know that I mentioned a time where I made Bella marry her great-grandson unintentionally, and, her stepdaughter was actually her great-great-granddaughter, that kind of messed up family dynamic. So it was that family, and it was after Bella had died, and she didn't die, she, death token thing. So I went to have Andy try and move on. Andy, by the way, was the son of Cassandra and John's daughter, so yeah. But he went to move on, and for some reason, I thought it'd be a cool idea to have Amy, his daughter, be friends with the social bunny for whatever reason. And I dragged her social low, and as a result, the social worker showed up, and I just wound up glitching her out or whatever. It was a bit of a mess. But this is kind of turning into a When Child Me Played The Sims video again. So basically, to sum up my thoughts on The Sims 1, sorry, we're kind of backtracking. We're going to be backtracking just for 1 second. It has a lot of nostalgic memories. It's got the best soundtrack in the series. It had a lot of heart put into it because it was a passion project at the end of the day, I imagined. And it just had so much charm and ambition. Would that be the word I'm looking for? But yeah, so Will Wright had an idea and he executed it to the best of his ability, which wound up being one of EA's great successes at the end of the day. And The Sims 1 is one of those games that's quite crucial for retro games in general, especially those of the simulation genre. And despite its age, it's still, again, charming. And it's also quite challenging too. It's not a walk in the park. Like, you could just be micromanaging for hours because the needs deplete so quickly. So you get a lot of playtime out of it. But yeah, my verdict on The Sims 1 is that it's good. It's good for its time. So continuing on with The Sims 2 now, where it basically just built off of the foundation that The Sims 1 had set. I think they also used the same engine, I think, but I might be wrong on that. They either used the same engine or the same source code or something like that, I can't remember. But either way, it was built on top of, and it was arguably more ambitious, I'd say. Personal bias aside, because we're going to have more neighbourhoods than what we actually got. You know, we have Pleasant View, Strangetown, Veronaville. We're going to have more neighbourhoods than that, which is quite common knowledge at this point. And there were like scenarios that were scrapped. There was mechanics that were scrapped but implemented later in EPs. Like weather was developed much earlier than it was. But I think I read somewhere that the items for pets were made much earlier than the Pets EP was released too. So that's also quite great. Different stories and stuff with the game, memory system, and I don't know what it is about it, but it can kind of keep you glued for a while, at least I find. Its storytelling is the strongest in the series, in my opinion. It's got the strongest storytelling, and The Sims themselves have so much personality. The pre-mades are actually appealing, and I will actually get to my feelings on this later on. The Sims 2 has the best pre-made Sims, in my opinion, because I'll save this when I talk about the other games, but you know what? I won't make it structured anymore. It's just going to be an unstructured flip-flop because I've already just been talking about random crap for 17 minutes I've been recording for. So, you know what? I'll just go into random stuff. It's going to become a full-on rant now. So, The Sims 3's pre-mades were alright, but they weren't anything worth noting, really. Like, the Altos, I don't really give a shit about, really. The Wolves, okay. Morgana's alright. What's his face? Theodore, is that his name? Thornton. I think that's his name. I think his name's Thornton. Yeah, cool. They're cool, I guess. I actually like the Alvi and Sekimoto households, but yeah. Don't ask why. I have a weird soft spot for the Alvies because I always moved them in the house, like my cousins in a house, like across, the one that's kind of like across from them or whatever, so my children would always make friends with Mirage, while the teenagers would make friends with VJ, and yeah, it was quite a little wholesome. That's why I have a soft spot for that family. And as for Sekimoto's, I'd always get my females with Leighton, I think his name's Leighton. He's got the weird side fringe cut. I quite like that haircut though, not gonna lie. But yeah, the other families, like the Bunches and even the Goss, for me, faded into the background. Like, it didn't even click that Bella Bachelor was Bella Goth for me because she was just so plain. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, she exists. Like The Sims 3 began my thing where I wouldn't play with pre-mades anymore. They just kind of be somehow integrated into my cast Sims storylines because for some reason I could just never get behind them. Granted, in The Sims 3, they have a lot more personality through their bios and their traits and the entire family bios. Like, they still have their own, like, little bits of personality. And for some reason, I love a lot of the Bridgeport Sims for some reason. For some reason, I have a weird soft spot for Beau and Merrick, who I think is, like, a romance sim thing. A thing. He's a thing, apparently. Like, he's that guy that's in, like, a flat with a, like, I think it's 3 other women who are also interested in him. I think his name's Beau Merrick, but I might be wrong. You know, I quite like Lola Bell. Was that her name? Lola Bell? She lives with, like, her fitness trainer and her son. I think she has a boyfriend she lives with too, but I might be wrong. And then there's also, like, Stella Stryker. I really liked Stella Stryker for some reason. I think she was in Bridgeport. I might be getting confused. I remember her being in Bridgeport, though. So I can name more Sims in Bridgeport that I like, but I can't name any Twinbrook Sims. I can't name any... Actually, I can name some Moonlight Fall Sims. Because I also love that HUD quite a bit, but granted, I can only name Pip, Goodfellow, and Rekorith, Triku. And he's a dead guy in a graveyard in The Sims 3, so, you know. But yeah, so some names may come to me, but yeah, the pre-made Sims in The Sims 3, a bit... They're all right, but they're not as good as The Sims 2 pre-mades, at least in my opinion. I don't know if, like, nostalgia's playing into it or what. Who knows? But The Sims 4 pre-mades are definitely one note. They're terrible. Like, The Sims 4 is the only game where I don't view the pre-made Sims as pre-mades. They may as well be townies with how they are. Because... like in The Sims 4, when I did play it, I literally only make a cast sim or whatever, and I'm I'm not joking that every time I see the Caliente sisters in that game, I literally look at them and go, ew, because they look hideous. Like, granted, like I said, I'm down for unique looking Sims, but they don't look unique. They look like Nina and Dina was just shoved somewhere, and like the real Nina and Dina were shoved into a cupboard while these imposters, because they even got the personalities messed up in that game. Like in The Sims 2, Nina is she's shy, she's athletic, she's quite grouchy and serious and very neat. And then you've got Dina, who is more on the playful and nice side. She's quite lazy and sloppy, but she's more outgoing than her sister. And then in The Sims 4, it's suddenly Nina's the materialistic one who is lazy for some reason, while Dina's the active one. I'm what? They can go, they can use the excuse it's an alternate timeline all they want. But if they're going to shove past pre-mades into the game for fan service, at least get it right. Like Katrina Caliente, who the fuck is that? No one knows her, no one likes her unless they started with The Sims 4, right? Because if you started with The Sims 2, you'd know that the parents are actually Nayat Caliente, not the fuck is Katrina, right? And then why does Don look like he's on steroids? I get it, he's meant to be fit and a flippin' hunk, but he looks like he's wearing a muscle suit. He looks like he's been inflated or something. He looks like he's filled with air. Probably is. And don't get me started with how dirty they did Dustin. They literally did just introduce him for fan service in Get Famous. Oh yeah, it's a sim called Dustin Broke. Haha, yeah, we remember he exists. Yeah, since when was Dustin Broke a nasty piece of shit? who worked in business. Like, what? Like, what they did with Dirk was quite harmless. I think the fact that they made him like a computer programmer kind of thing quite cool. So I don't have a massive complaints of what they did to Dirk. But Dustin is like, okay. And Dustin was also quite fit in The Sims 2. Like, he was quite athletic to a degree, but in The Sims 4 he's overweight or a bit pudgy. It's like, you know, having a dark-skinned character, let's say, and suddenly introducing them as white. And yes, they did do that with Cassandra Goth, and granted, Cassandra was quite tanned. She was medium-skinned, more or less, but they made her, like, light-skinned in The Sims 4, and it's like, that's not Cassandra. And also they made her a teenager when she's an adult. So they basically made her now younger than the Calientes and Don. Again, that's probably due to the alternate timeline excuse, but it's like... And then they make Holly Alto tan-skinned when she was light-skinned in The Sims 3. It's like, you basically... What? Again... I'm not going to let them off with the it's an alternate timeline excuse, because it's not an excuse. You've got Sims 4 reference here, and I don't hear many people mention the version of The Sims they uploaded to the gallery. Okay. You know, like they uploaded the grunts to the gallery, I think, where for some reason Rip's like a popularity sim. For some reason. I think if I'm remembering correctly, he has like the friend of the world aspiration or something like that, and I'm there like, I'd maybe give him the soulmate aspiration, which is a romance aspiration built around finding your one soulmate, which is honestly how I view Rip, despite how romance sims are coded in the second game. And like, I don't remember much like, I don't think Pascal's pregnancy is the exact same. I don't even know if he is pregnant in the gallery version. And, like, the Pleasants are, like, actually pleasant now. And it's like, no. You forgot the irony of their surname, okay? They're pleasant. Their surnames are pleasant, but they're not pleasant. They're quite unpleasant, actually. And I've spent this whole time ranting about pre-mades that have been done dirty. But, you know. And then... you get to like, this is going to turn into a Sims 4 rant now, because The Sims 4, it's just shit. Like, a bit of a strong wording, yeah, and they're probably going to get a lot of flack for this, because I know a lot of the Sims 4 fan base are a bunch of 13-year-olds who get like upset by the slightest thing. Granted, do I sound like proper negative? Yes, because you can't say one negative thing about The Sims 4. No, because you want it to improve, you want it to get better, then you're going to get a bunch of torches and pitchforks pointed at you, because how dare you diss this game with no substance and has as much depth as my big toe, which is not a lot of depth. Wait, what am I talking about? But yeah, like you know, like Pleasant Sims, for example, right? She makes opinion videos on The Sims 4, well, she used to anyway, and like, she get people hopping on her like she's stealing their joy or something. I'm like, no, she has a fucking opinion, and she's not wrong about it. It's crap. It's shit. Like, just... And like, they're adding all this new stuff, like, oh yeah, you asked for farming, we're giving you farming. You wanted likes and dislikes. You know what? We hear you guys. We're giving it to you. And meanwhile, I'm just out there like, dude, it's not just a lack of content that's a problem. It's one, how much it actually costs to get all of the content, because you're a bunch of money greedy assholes, essentially. And, well, EA, not Maxis. EA. Maxis is making the game. EA are the money-hungry bastards. I had to quickly clarify that. And, you know, I'm just out here like, well, no, the emotion system is fucking broken. Like, every single sim I create feels the same. They end up looking the same somehow. And I'm just like... you'd be like, and there's nothing that happens like out of player control, if that makes sense. It's like The Sims 3 had some unpredictability with its story progression and stuff like that. The Sims 2 had its unpredictability in just its chaotic nature in general, and The Sims 4 is just everything's all a nice dystopia where wait no dystopia. You're like, no, The Sims 4 is the opposite of a dystopia. Utopia, I meant to say. It's like a utopia where like everything is all good and merry and happy. And granted, I get it, some people play it as a form of escapism, some just play it for challenges, some just use it for building and just creating Sims and going, okay, I'm done for the day. But as someone who actually likes to play and create stories, it's extremely lacking, and like it's why I haven't gone back to it in over a year, because it's just lackluster. It's like watching paint dry, and like they can spend as much time as they want polishing a turd and adding pretty icing and sprinkles and maybe sandwiching it between two slices of actual sponge to make it look like a chocolate cake, but at the end of the day, you bite into it and it's still shit. I think you can tell how unstructured this fucking video is, because it's just kind of gone through, okay guys, view on the Sims series as a whole, like yeah, let's see, and then next into a Sims 4 rant. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to edit this down, but still, it's a shit show. And I know I'm saying shit a lot, I'm dropping a bunch of profanities a lot, which doesn't make me sound clever or anything like that. It's just, it's frustrating, because I've been getting a bunch of Sims 4 stuff crop up in my recommended. And for some reason, usually more often than not, it's a bunch of videos like, top 5 ways to make your gameplay more interesting, top 10 challenges in The Sims 4 to make it less boring, how to stop getting bored of The Sims 4, and it's the like most videos I've seen about how to stop getting bored with blank game, I've seen way too many of them on The Sims 4. So it's even there, like, you've got like desperate fans trying to keep people engaged. Either that, or they like just like the game and they generally just want to help players who are losing their steam with the game. I get it. But like if you've started off with The Sims 4, like you've played nothing else in the series, you just go into The Sims 4, then it's not going to be that bad for you. But when you've got the past games to compare it to, how lifeless it is, how lacking in personality it is, how lacking in ambition it is, and all that jazz is very apparent. How much of a cash cow the game is extremely apparent. And I don't like the clay art style either. I think I've mentioned it many times, but it looks ugly to me. It looks hideous. Like, I'm sorry, it's meant to be the newest edition, yet The Sims 3 looks more gorgeous than it, okay? The Sims 2 looks better than it, in my opinion. And it's just, it's terrible. It's just, everything looks so flat. And it's, granted, you may say, like, well, your problem is that you're just comparing it to the later games. Why don't you just view it as its own thing? And the thing is that when it's part of a series that has a lot of games, then how lifeless it is going to be looking at you right in the face. You can't suddenly wipe your memories of the past games away because you want to try and give The Sims 4 a chance. And I've given it many chances, but I took a step back and I realised, well, for the most part, I just boot up a household and then I'll stare at it for 10 minutes and then I'll end up watching YouTube on my tablet while the game's just paused and I've not done anything on it. But The Sims 4 does have its merits, and that's just in the build mode. The build mode is the best it's ever been, but that's pretty much it. That's all. That's it. And like The Sims 2, I can play unmodded for hours. Sims 3, I've always played The Sims 3 unmodded. I've never put any mods into The Sims 3, and even though admittedly, yes, it is unstable and laggy, and since the settings on individual per save file. I've got to keep it to my sister's settings, so as a result, that's why I get bored of it easily, admittedly. But yeah, but at least you can take a look at The Sims 3 and you can see how rich it is in content. Sims 4, I just look at it and think, yeah, it exists. And before again anyone comes at me in the comments going, you're just a hater, why are you being so elitist, why are you hating on my favourite game, like, right, hang on, I'm going to be a bit elitist for a second. I'm going to actually be elitist for a bit of a second. When I see people say that either The Sims 4 is their favourite game in the series, the response always like, who hurt you? I'm sorry, but a bit of me dies inside. I'm like, oh god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, I really am. But yeah, despite having just said that, like what you like, I see merit to it for some style of plays, like, you know, the building type of player will get a lot out of it. You know, if they like to build, you know, really like pretty houses and stuff like that, you can. It's easy, even if you're like me and you suck at building. And you can build a really nice house in The Sims 4. The roof tool is the best it's ever been at. Like, dragging the roofs around is brilliant. I like how you can just like adjust the size of the rooms without having to take walls down and stuff like that. And you can pick rooms up and move them around too. So if you're like, oh, I want a living room to be in the front of the house, not the back of the house, I can just like pick the room up and plonk it down. It's great. Okay, it's good. But if you're like me, and for the most part you just play it for creating stories or watching chaos unfold and shit like that, then yeah, this is totally the only video I'm gonna make that has me ranting about The Sims 4 in it. Like, I don't even know how to title this video because it just kind of went from unscripted opinion piece to rant on The Sims 4, so I don't know. And according to my recording thing, I've been talking for 41 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up now. But to close this off quickly, most of my ranting was a bit hyperbolic. Again, like what you like. Don't let my opinion on it and my exaggerated "who hurt you, honey," you know, get you down about it, you know. And I know you can't help but sometimes feel down when you hear that someone is crapping on something you really like. Like, I understand sometimes I feel like a sting if someone like, this is my favourite game, favourite band, favourite anime, whatever, you know what I mean. It can't be helped really, but just know that you're not alone in liking what you like, and like, do you you do you. You know, I'm fine with my Sims 2, but if, you know, you want to move on to The Sims 4, or, you know, kiss your Sims 4 goodnight and tuck it into bed, what the hell am I talking about? Either way, I hope you have a good day regardless. I may not like it, but I hope you just keep liking what you're liking. And yeah, just don't send hate in my direction just because I have an opinion, because I know what the internet is like. And like, if even if you breathe once, sometimes they'll be on top of you, like yeah. And because you just walk into a room and you're like, oh, I hate The Sims 4, and they're like, how dare you? And you're like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't force myself to think like you. And now I'm coming off as condescending, so I'm gonna probably shut the hell up before I really do end up getting an angry mob at the back of my door going, okay, yeah. So if this is your first video by me and you've made it this far, just know this isn't what I'm normally like. This isn't the type of content I produce all the time. I'm not overtly negative all the time. And I mostly do Sims 2 things. So, like, it might be obvious if you just, like, go onto a Sims 2 channel and it's like, oh, well, not really Sims 2. I'm more of a general gaming channel. That's what I like to dub myself as, but you know. And you're like, of course you hate The Sims 4. You're a Sims 2 stan. Like, no, not all. There's some Sims 2 players that do like The Sims 4. Just, I'm not one of them. So yeah, again, my intention with this isn't to offend anybody. I was just basically putting all of my feelings onto a plate and seasoning it with salt, you know? If you got offended by this, then grow some skin, that's all I'm gonna say. Grow up. What's wrong with me today? But again, just don't get offended by some random girl on the internet saying she doesn't like The Sims, she doesn't like something. You're not gonna like start attacking someone because they don't like lasagna. Like, come on. Either way, I'm gonna... It's because I'm just trying to articulate that this isn't how I'm usually like, and I don't want to upset anybody. Because it kind of comes off as I'm doing it on purpose, because I'm just in one of those moods where I just won't shut up. So, again, I mostly produce Sims 2 content, and it's not usually this negative. That's all I'm going to say. If you got offended, I will just say I'm sorry, but it's just an opinion. It shouldn't change your opinion. You like The Sims 4, you like the spin it's put on the series or whatever. Or hell, you're falling... No. Oh, you know, are you still giving your money to EA in the hopes that they improve or whatever? I'll acknowledge this quickly. The Sim Gurus, they're trying to make an enjoyable product, I think. It's just EA that's kind of like breathing down the neck. So I'm not blaming any of the Sim Gurus or Maxis or anything like that. I believe they're trying, but they're being limited by EA. That's my belief on it anyway. I'm blaming EA, because EA is a crummy company in general. Like Star Wars Battlefront 2, I think the re-release of that had a bunch of microtransactions or whatever a few years back, because they just wanted money. They're basically like Mr. Krabs, you know? They're basically like Mr. Krabs of like the industry or whatever. But yeah, just so you know, I'm not usually like this. I'm more considerate, but I'm just in a bit of a rowdy mood today. But yeah, if you're curious of what I usually do, I usually just produce Sims 2. I'm producing Sims 2 content at the moment. But yeah, I'll just wrap it up here. So if you've made it this far and you didn't actually get offended, thanks. It is just an opinion at the end of the day. Everyone has one. And yeah, if you like the video, for some reason, because I have a feeling that this is going to get a lot of flack. That's why I'm posting it. I have no fucking idea, but whatever. But if you liked it, yeah, you can leave it a like. If you actually do like The Sims 4, you can tell me why in the comments. So you can tell me why you like or dislike it in the comments if you want. I'd be interested to hear what everyone thinks about this. Because I think I'm like the 100th person to have spoken about it, because it's not like it's a rare topic to be seen around here. If that makes any sense. But yeah, people like different things for different reasons, and it's quite interesting to see. So... I'm a bit drained now, so I just got a bit too rounded up. But again, if you want to see what I do in the future, you can subscribe. And if you decided to stay, thank you, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.